Hello, my name is Matthew Kane. In this training, I'm going to talk to you about the 7 things every business owner and CEO must do to protect themselves online. This is a 2-part series. So in the beginning, I'm going to share about the first part and what you can do. Simple steps that you can do to protect your identity, your families, and your reputation online. So let me share my screen. Again, one of the things that I want to share with you is who am I? Why the heck do you care what I have to say? Our team is on a mission to help protect 1 million people. And part of that is this free training that we want to include in part of our mission. So what can we do here is I want to share you just a little bit about my background. Who am I? So my name is Matthew Kane. I was an immigrant that was born in Cambodia during the Khmer Rouge, the Communist Party. This happens right around the time of the Vietnam War when it happened. I immigrated. My family and I immigrated to the U.S. when I was about 11 years old. Didn't know any English when I got to the U.S. And my dad didn't get to go to high school or go to any formal school. So he realized that he needed to get out of the country to provide a better opportunity for me and my family. So he came here to the US. Now, when I first got here, English was very hard for me personally. Learning the language, learning how to understand the grammar, the spelling and stuff was always a challenge because I never had the opportunity to go to school when I was in Cambodia. So, but my favorite subject or topics was always math and science. And then because of that, I got involved into computers when I was in high school, working with IBM PC clone. This is the first time that I got involved was because my friends and I learned how, all these personal computers were standalone. But one of the things that got excited was we had an opportunity of how to network them using this company's coaxial cable. We use coaxial cable, BNC connector on the back of the computers, using a software by a company at that time called Novell NetWare. Now, some of you probably are familiar with Novell NetWare, and it allowed personal computer to communicate and talk to each other. And at this time, Microsoft was just coming out with their Windows 3.1 computers, and we were loading everything into DOS. So sharing information for business was a big deal at that time. And we got a chance to set everything up, get them integrated and communicated, and solve one of the business problem at that time was getting the network, getting the computer for the business to be able to share and make better use of their personal computer. After high school, I went on to engineering school to further my education in technology. So I completed my education with an electrical engineering background and started working for larger firms at IBM and some startups. Now, during the time that I was IBM, a customer called in and needed some help with his personal computer. It was an insurance broker who needed help. They purchased computers from IBM, but IBM doesn't work with small business. They work with large enterprise. So my manager say, hey, can you help this customer see what you can do? Is there anything that you are able to help him with? So I decided, sure, let me see. Being willing to help and serve, I go, okay, what can I do? He said, talk to him, see what he needs, see if there's anything you can do. It may be, IBM doesn't do that with small business. I go, okay, let me talk to him. I went on a weekend to help the client to understand what he was trying to solve, how to get the IBM computer talking to each other and sharing information. And it helped him. He got really excited when we were able to network and say, hey, these are the things that we can do to get your computer working, to allow your employees to share information among each others. And so he got really excited. And that led me to, he referred me to other clients, because he goes, hey, my other, people that I know can really benefit from this, because they want to be able to do these type of things, but it's hard to do because, when we work with large organization like IBM, they don't work with us small businesses. So I really got intrigued about these type of things, because people like pay me to help them do something that I really enjoy. Now, afterwards, I moved on to work with another company closer to where I live, which was Cisco System. They're in the business of providing network. And I had a chance to work with Cisco's equipment, to work with large telecommunication company of setting up their firewall routers and manage their network. So it was probably one of the best things that I can do. After, though, being there for over 7 years and working with them, it wasn't something that got me excited anymore, because I felt that I didn't make an impact or difference to anyone except these large enterprises. So my friends and I decided, like, hey, why don't we start a consulting business? Because we know that a lot of small business could leverage technology to use for their own business and provide all the security that they need as well. So we started a consulting practice and started a company, eSudo Technology Solutions. At that time, we realized that technology alone wasn't enough. It can help provide some level of security and get things working for them. However, we realized that part of the solution to protecting a business has to do with their employees and educating their staff. So that led us to work on one of the things eventually to write a book. My bunch of my team members and associates decided, hey, let's write a book on managing your business risk in the cybersecurity minefield. This got published and became #1 on Amazon. So I was really excited. I shared this with the rest of my clients and gave them information. And so I also got interviewed with CNBC and discussed, some of the things that businesses are doing online. So I'm very excited. That's how I got into the IT. Now, the next thing I want to share is, why do business matters? Because one of the things that we often do is businesses are constantly being under attack. And one of the biggest things is phishing. Email phishing in particular is a form of fraud that allows somebody to pretend to be someone else to send a message on their behalf to get you to do something. Here's the biggest thing. Most people may or may not realize that one of the biggest phishing attack was targeted to Facebook and Google. This was back in 2013 and 2015. It cost the business $100 million. $100 million. And the guy, the hacker, what he did was he set up fake companies and used phishing email to send to Google and to Facebook to say, hey, you need to pay these invoices. These are the things that you owe us and stuff. So he was able to do this for a large organization. And this is an individual who was able to do this. Just imagine that. So as a business owner, why am I sharing with you with this? Because it's important to understand that phishing is the easiest way for a hacker to scam you. They will send you fake email to verify your credit card information or to verify a purchase account. And part of that is you, as being a business owner, are highly targeted because a business owner and CEO, you're the face of the company. Your company's profiles online, they can check you on your website, on your social media or LinkedIn profile. So your information is highly sought after. They want to get access to your identity. They want to access because you have privileged information. You also have the authority to make decision with your account. So what can they do with your identity? They can file a fake tax return. They can use it to access your credit card information. They can register a new credit card. They can open a new line of credit. One of the other things is home title theft. That's a new thing. They can use that to transfer your home title, and you may not realize that. And lastly is that they can use it to access your medical records. So what about your privilege? So why do they want your privilege access? Because here's the thing. Once they have access to your account, they can download all your emails, your contacts, and calendar event and learn more about you. They can access your computer network because your account will have administrative access usually, and you have access to human resource data, employment records. These are important information. Here's the other thing is, because you're the business owner and the CEO, you have the authority to make decisions that no one else in the company has. You can use your account to buy a gift certificate. You can tell somebody to buy a gift certificate on your behalf. You can update vendor payment information. You can convince your resource information or payroll company to send you data on your employees. So if a hacker gets they can get access to all this information. You can set up new payment for your vendor. So you may tell the vendor, hey, I got a new banking account. Can you transfer any new payment or other payment, cancel that, send it to a new banking account? This is what happened with a company that was a manufacturing company. They got access to one of the owners' payment. They convinced their vendor that you need to make payment to the new account. They can have your team wire transfer. So maybe they said, hey, I need you to wire some money over to this account. What can you do to protect yourself? First, again, is that we believe educating yourself. Know how to recognize what a phishing emails look like. Phishing email is, there are different type of phishing emails. Most phishing email starts out what they call like a blanket wide net catch. This is like they would cast a wide net to send it to everyone, basically, so that whoever they can get a hold of, they will be able to catch that person. Okay, they want them to be able to just blanket everyone. It's easier to detect because of this. A more targeted is called spear phishing, which is more targeted. It's very focused. They know your name. They know more detailed personal information. It's harder to detect. So this is called spear phishing. Now, then the next one is even harder because this is very targeted to executives, executive whaling phishing emails. This is targeted to you. They know detailed knowledge about you. They study your profile They learn about you. They know some information. They may even know who you deal with in your company or your vendors. So it's much harder to detect them. However, if you look at it, phishing is all the same way, the way it works. What they want you to do is they want to make the phishing look believable, look authentic. So an example, here's a sample email that was sent that pretend to be from Amazon, and it's asking somebody to update their payment information. The email looks realistic. It looks like it's coming from Amazon. But if you look at closely, the email is not actually from Amazon. It's the email address is not Amazon. It's from somebody else. The next is that they want you to take immediate action. They want you to have something urgent. For example, this is an email that looks like it's coming from Chase, but it's not from Chase. They want somebody to take immediate action on a transaction. Otherwise, it may be too late. So they want you to click on a link to make decisions. So these are urgent messages that they're trying to play on and get emotional for you to take action. Here's another one, is an email from Office Microsoft 365. It says, hey, you are running out of storage space. You need to do something. Otherwise, you may not be able to send and receive email anymore. So this is an example where somebody wants you to take immediate action, and you may click on investigate, and it may be a fake email or spoofing email that the hacker wants you to go in and verify your account. So how can you protect yourself? What are some ways that you can protect yourself? First is slow down. Don't take immediate action. Carefully check the sender's email to make sure it's correct or not. Does it make sense? Is the email actually coming from the person, or is it like some other email that you don't recognize? Use your mouse, hover over the links to see where the link is going. Is it going to the website that you think it's supposed to go over? So check the link carefully. And if there's any attachment, don't open the attachment, because if you're not expecting that person to send you something, don't be opening the attachment, because it may contain something malicious. Then in the body of the message, check if there's any grammatical error, misspelling, to determine, is it like correct? Does the message looks consistent with what you would normally get? So there's an acronym that I want you to think about, is SLAM: sender, links, attachment, and the body of the message. And if you have questions, call the number on the website of the company. Don't call the phone number that's listed in the email. So these are some of the basic things. So let's dig a little bit deeper into what the message would look like. Here's an example of an email that just came out. An unfamiliar email address that was sent to you, okay? It looks like it's from a Gmail account. 2, they want you to take action right away. Action required. It has a sense of urgency. 3 is the greeting. It's generic, meaning that they don't even know your full name or name. So be very careful about that. 3rd is, look at the spelling. Is there any spelling error or grammatical error? Pay attention to the body of the message. And then look at the link. The link, if you hover over it, it actually goes to a different website than what is listed there. So be very careful about that. And lastly, the attachment. The attachments, if you look at it carefully, it contains an executable that can contain malicious code on there that install something on your computer. So those are some of the things that example how you can check whether the email is correct or not, or the email is suspicious or not. So next is, what are the next things besides checking your email for phishing? Next to learning about phishing email is passwords. Most people don't like creating and updating their password because it can be cumbersome and hard to remember. But here are some of the things why you need to consider what you can do with your password and how you can make that a bit easier. How to protect your password. 4 out of 5 breaches happen because somebody used an insecure password. And what I mean by that is that passwords are something that we use every day, and we have multiple passwords. And oftentimes, insecure password means that you pick passwords that are easy to remember, but it also makes the hacker make your account to be an easy target. So they're gonna guess you if passwords are dictionary or your pet's name or your dog's name or anything like your birthday. Those are something that are easy targets for the hackers to go after. So you want to make the password, a lot of times password, once they're compromised or stolen, they sell that on the dark web, and hackers are buying those passwords out there in the dark web. And that's why it's important that you don't want your password to be reused in multiple websites or different locations. So keep passwords that are unique, because if they have access to one password, they may use it for other websites to get into your account. To protect yourself, again, is don't reuse your password. Don't use patterns like, some people will use, let's say, a pattern and they add 1, 2, 3 to the end, or 4, 5, 6, or they put a bunch of exclamation marks. So generate unique password. And most importantly is, don't save your password into insecure storage, such as your Outlook account, your Excel document, or Word document. These are very insecure, and as soon as a hacker gets into your computer, those are the first place they're going to look. They're going to search for it. And it's easy enough to find. So what are the alternatives? First is consider using a password manager. Use a password manager that is not part of the browser. So a browser has a password manager, and that is probably the worst one that you can use. Use a third-party password manager like Keeper Security, some other third-party out there. Password manager that comes with Chrome and Edge are probably not the most secure. Then set up two-factor authentication on all your accounts. Two-factor authentication will go back into more deeply later on. But most people are familiar with two-factor authentication if they do any online banking today. So let's talk about the next thing is how to keep your email account on Office 365 safe. A lot of businesses out there use some form of email or online storage such as Microsoft 365. And whether you use Microsoft 365 or Google, I'm going to focus on Microsoft 365 because most business use Word, Excel, and Outlook for all their email. Similarly, the same thing can apply to if you're using a Google account. In 2021, 65% of organizations suffer an email compromise. Now, an email compromise in 2021, that number jumped to 77%. And this is focusing on small business. The FBI reported that, the amount of money lost to email compromise scam continued to grow each year, with a 65% increase globally identified. And so between July of 2019 and December 2021. So it's scary to think that the frequency are increasing, but the cost is also going up. What happens when a hacker gets into your email in Office 365? They have access to your email, they have your saved item, your sent item, deleted item. The reason why they want that is they want to build a history of who you communicated with, what you've been doing, who are your primary contacts, your tasks that you've been doing. Look at your calendar. What are some of the things that you do? And notes. Sometimes you keep notes and stuff. Once they have access to your email, they use that account to send ransom messages to your contacts. The ransomware messages. Now imagine your contact got an email from you and they open a link and it infected their computer. Can you imagine what that would happen? How would they feel about doing business with you going forward? Next is they also will set up rules in your account to send email so they can monitor anything that you do. If they want to look, they monitor for subject line that has invoices or billing. They send a copy to the hacker sends a copy to them, and they also create a rule to move any email that's sent to them into a deleted item so you're not aware of that. So that you're not suspicious of, oh, why is this email being sent out to this person? How can you protect yourself? So we talked about this earlier, setting up a multi-factor authentication or two-code verification. The other thing is, don't log on to your Microsoft 365 from a non-work computer. Oftentimes people go home, they want to work from home, they check their email, they check their system using a computer that hasn't been updated or protected. So sometimes it's not going to be secure. And lastly is, don't be using free or public Wi-Fi if you don't know what it is. The reason for that is anybody can go and set up a public Wi-Fi that looks like another Wi-Fi to pretend to be that. And if a hacker did that, they could capture all your information that you go online because you got a free account, and now it's anything you send is going to be freely captured, or they can compromise your system because the traffic is insecure or unencrypted. What else can you do? Because a lot of other things is the next thing that most people will get is text messages. So I'm going to talk about smooshing. This is a term that most of you may or may not be familiar with. So what is smooshing? Let's talk about that. Say you get an email, a text message that looks like this. Hey, is this Mary at ABC Company? How would you respond? Are you going to let them know that, yes, this is Mary? Or you're going to just ignore them? This is an example of a smooshing message. In other words, it's like a spam message, a phishing message, but it's to your phone. It's text to you. It's a text phone message. So unfortunately, these attacks are on the rise. So according to the FCC, FCC recorded that robocall team is alerting consumer because of these robo texts are being generated constantly, and people getting all these messages going into their phone. And why are hackers doing this? Because it's simple. They want to get access to your bank account. They want access to your website, social media, financial information, and shipping information. And then the other thing is if they have access to your phone and your account, they can install malware on your system. Once they have access, what they want to do, they want to transfer money out of your account. They make fraudulent purchases and send your account to other criminal. They want to sell that so they can sell it on the dark web. How does smooshing work? Let's go in a bit more detail on that. Here's what happened. You get a text message delivered to your phone. Then there's a link for you to open. The link looks very convincing. It loads up to, let's say, a website. The website will ask you to enter your username, password, in some case, bank account, or multi-factor authentication code. And now if you enter all that, voila, the hacker have got access to your account information. So what can you do to protect yourself against smooshing messages? First, don't respond or open the link. Never share sensitive information or financial information through text messages. And then if you have to verify, make sure that you understand who they are and look for small things, just like the email we talked about. Look for missing spelling, grammatical errors, and look at the number that is coming from. Even the number looks like it's from your families or friend. Phone number can be spoofed, so they can be faked. So be very careful and validate that. Just make sure you understand, is it really from them? And just remember that the government, like the IRS and stuff, does not contact or send you text messages to your phone. And if you have to, if you think it's real, call the main number on their website or go visit their local office. And then what can you do is you can report these scams to your wireless carrier, text and forward it to 7726. You can also go to the fcc.gov's website. If you've been a victim or targeted, you can report that and file a complaint. So what's next? Let me talk about, so a lot of this stuff we went over, there's a lot of information. What can you do here? Getting all this stuff is hard because there's so much information. And as a business owner and a CEO, you're already busy with everything that you do. Here's what we're going to be able to tell you. What you can do is that because you attended this webinar and because a part of our mission is to help protect businesses, that we're offering a third-party assessment to do a risk assessment for you, for your network. So if you want to make sure that all your ducks are in a row, get the list of items to improve, click on this QR code or go to the website, ask.esudo.com/risk to get a risk assessment. So what's the catch? There's no catch, but I can only provide this to a limited number of users, the first 5 people that will sign up for this, because I can only have so many assessment in 1 month. The next thing is that if you are not able the first 5 people, I'll put you on the waiting list and see if we can help you. Now, this is the first part of our series. I'm going to continue this in the next series, part 2, of additional things that you can do as part of the 7-step. I only went over the first 3 to 4 items, so we're going to go over the next 4 items in the next part of our webinar. Well, thank you for attending, and have a safe holiday.